Rank 1. The soul in waiting. You have just arrived. Not through a door or a gate. The architecture of this place doesn't map onto anything you had words for while you were alive. But there is a threshold, and you have crossed it, and everything that was heavy about existing, the body, the fatigue, the constant low noise of biological need, is gone. What remains is you. The essential you. Whatever persisted through every version of yourself. The child you were, the person you became, the one who showed up at the end. That thing is here. It turns out it was the only thing that was ever really here. You are not yet ranked. You are not yet assigned. You are a soul in the anteroom of eternity, and the first thing you notice is that time does not work the way it did. There is no urgency. No clock. The anxiety that structured every hour of your human life, the sense of always running slightly late for something, is simply absent. You notice its absence the way you notice silence after a loud noise. You are aware of others. Not as bodies, as presences. Some are familiar in ways that bypass memory and go straight to recognition. People you loved. People who were already here waiting. The reunion is quieter and deeper than drama. It is the feeling of a word you've been trying to remember for years, finally remembered. You do not yet understand this place. You understand that it is vast in a way the word vast does not capture. What you experienced as the universe, the stars, the incomprehensible distances, was a small thing inside a larger thing, and you are now in the larger thing. You are at the beginning. Every rank above you has existed since before time had a name. You are new here. That is not a disadvantage. It is simply where everyone starts. Rank 2. The angel, or the malachim. You are a messenger. That is what the word means, malach, in the oldest language your name was written in. You carry communications between the divine and the human. You are the interface between a reality human minds cannot process directly, and the human minds that need to receive it anyway. You have appeared to people. This is the part they write down. The appearances are hard to describe accurately because the witnesses are working with vocabulary that wasn't built for what they're seeing. You tell them not to be afraid, because fear is always the first response. Not because you are terrible, though there are ranks above you that are, but because you exceed the frame of things humans have learned not to fear. You take forms they can process. Sometimes human. Sometimes light. Sometimes something in between that scribes will render imperfectly and theologians will argue about for centuries. You watch those arguments sometimes. They are not entirely wrong and not entirely right. Your assignments are specific. A message delivered to a specific person at a specific moment. Asterisk you will conceive. Do not be afraid. Go here. Say this. Asterisk nothing is improvised at your level. You carry what you are given and deliver it exactly. The presence of the divine is not something you believe in. It is something you are in, the way a fish is in water. The question of whether it exists does not arise, because you are constituted by it. You have no ambition in the human sense. Ambition requires imagining a better situation than yours. You cannot, not from lack of imagination, but because your situation is not a situation you are in. It is what you are. You are one of a multitude. But each of you is distinct. The message you delivered to that person, in that moment, in that room, it was yours, and no one else carried it. You are a messenger. The messages are real. Rank 3. The archangel. There are very few of you. 7, in some traditions. 4 in others. 3 named in the scriptures most humans would recognize. The number matters less than what it implies. You are not part of a multitude. You are part of a council. Each of you holds a domain no other being holds. Michael, who is like God, commander of the heavenly host. When the texts speak of spiritual warfare, they are not speaking metaphorically. There is a front. Michael is at it. Gabriel, the strength of God, the announcer of things that change everything, the Annunciation, the visions that reorganize history. Gabriel carries the transmissions that alter the trajectory of civilizations. Raphael, the healing of God. moving through the human world in forms not immediately recognized, restoring bodies, relationships, people who have lost their way so completely they've forgotten there is a way to be lost from. Your names are descriptions. In this hierarchy, what you are called is what you are. Where an angel carries a message, you carry an era. Where an angel speaks to a person, you speak to a generation. Humans are still working out the implications of some of your assignments thousands of years later. You stand in the presence of the divine directly. You are not separated from the source by layers of hierarchy. You are adjacent. The weight of that adjacency is something lower ranks are not constituted to carry. You are present at the major events, not as witness, as participant. The creation, the flood, the announcements that restructured history. And you have fought. The rebellion that introduced the concept of against into a reality that had not contained it. You were in that war. You are in it still. You are never fully at rest. That is the cost of the rank. Rank 4. The principalities. You govern. Not people, larger than people. You are assigned to the stewardship of structures, institutions, peoples across generations. The principality you oversee is not a location on a map, but a thread of human community across time. You are mentioned briefly in the texts. Paul names you in a list, sandwiched between other ranks, giving readers a sense of the hierarchy's size without explaining any level of it. The brevity is characteristic. Humans were given enough to know the structure exists. Your work is slow by human standards. The change you steward happens across centuries. You are not dispatched to a moment like the angels below you. You are assigned to an epoch. You watch the arc of a civilization and apply what pressure you are permitted to apply. Permitted is the important word. Your authority is real, but you operate within a framework. The hierarchy above you sets limits. You are a steward, not an owner, and your management is accountable upward in ways that have no human equivalent. The accountability is total, and the auditor is omniscient. You are aware of opposition at your level. The rebellion left counterparts to every rank, beings of equivalent capacity working toward opposite ends. Your domain is contested. There is a counter-governance, a resistance, working against the trajectory you maintain. This is why human history looks the way it does. Not chaos, contested order. Two sets of forces working against each other across centuries, with human choices as the terrain. You do not tire. You do not lose patience. You do not look at the slow, contested, frequently heartbreaking work and consider stopping. Stopping is not in your nature. Rank 5. The powers. You hold the boundary. The powers, exousiai in the Greek of the early texts, are the rank assigned to maintaining order at the cosmic level. Not governance of peoples. Maintenance of the structure within which governance is possible. Think of it this way. The physical universe has laws, gravity, thermodynamics, the constants that determine how matter and energy behave. These laws do not enforce themselves. The consistency of reality is not accidental. You are among the reasons it is consistent. This is different work from the ranks above and below you. Angels carry messages to specific people. Archangels manage world-changing events. Principalities govern peoples across time. You maintain the substrate all of that runs on. You are also warriors in a specific sense. The powers are the rank most directly engaged with the containment of evil, not its final defeat, which is Michael's work, but its moment-to-moment containment. The boundary between what is permitted to operate in the created world and what is not. You hold that line. The line is not static. It requires constant maintenance. The forces pressing against it are real and organized and have been working at this for as long as the conflict has existed, which is a very long time. You do not appear in human history the way angels and archangels do. You deliver no messages, announce no births, interpret no dreams. Your work is structural and therefore invisible to the human record. The fact that reality continued to cohere, that the framework held, that the laws of the universe remained consistent while all of this was happening, that is your entry in the record, and signed. But you are not unknown upward in the hierarchy. The work you do is seen. Rank 6. The virtues. You move things. The virtues, sometimes called the strongholds, are the rank associated with miracles. Not in the sense of violating natural law, but of operating natural law at a level above what human observation accesses. The parting of a sea, the feeding of thousands from almost nothing, the healing that happens faster than biology allows. You are the mechanics of the miraculous. When the order comes from above to do something in the physical world that exceeds what the physical world does on its own, you are among the beings through whom it is done. Your rank is also associated with courage, specifically, its transmission. Humans in impossible situations, who find reserves of strength they did not know they had, who continue when continuation seems impossible, who do the right thing at enormous cost because something in them would not allow otherwise. That something is not entirely internal. You are part of what that something is. You carry grace in its most tangible form, not as abstraction, as force, as the thing that moves through a person at the precise moment they need moving. You have been present at the miracles recorded in the texts, not as spectator, but as mechanism. The water became wine. The dead were raised. The storm stopped. These events required a being capable of operating at the intersection of physical law and divine will. That is what you are. The work requires precision. A miracle is not a disruption of order. It is order operating at a higher level than humans normally observe. The water molecules rearranged. The cells restored. The weather redirected. Not violations of physics. Physics operated from a vantage point physics doesn't account for. You understand both the law and the lawgiver. That dual understanding is the capacity your rank holds. Rank 7. The dominions. You regulate the ranks below you. The dominions, Kyriates, are the administrative layer of the heavenly hierarchy. The ranks below you carry out assignments. You manage the assignment of assignments. You are the point at which divine will becomes organizational structure, where what needs to happen becomes who does it and how. Paul mentions you as a rank above the principalities and powers, which gives you a sense of the level. You are not in the field. You are not at the front. You are in the architecture of the operation, the layer that ensures the hierarchy functions as a hierarchy rather than as an undirected collection of enormously powerful beings. Your work is invisible in the way all management is invisible when done well. The message arrives at the right moment because the angel was assigned correctly. The principality covers its domain without gaps because the coverage was organized correctly. The powers hold their line because the resources were allocated correctly. You are the reason all of it runs. You have a quality hard to name in human language, somewhere near wisdom, somewhere near authority, somewhere near the clarity that comes from seeing the whole operation rather than any single part of it. You do not have the archangel's proximity to the divine. You do not have the angel's contact with the human world. You have something rarer, the view from the middle of the whole thing, which turns out to be the view that keeps the whole thing functioning. You are not celebrated in the texts. The angels and archangels have names, appearances, dramatic moments. The dominions are referenced in a list, and the text moves on. This is accurate to your experience. The drama happens below you. The source is above you. You are in between, administering eternity. It is enough. Rank 8. The thrones. You carry the presence. The thrones, ophonym in some traditions, thronoi in others, are among the most extraordinary beings in the hierarchy, and the most difficult to describe in any language that evolved in the physical world. Ezekiel saw you, and the record he left is one of the strangest passages in biblical literature. Wheels within wheels. Eyes covering the rims. Moving in any direction without turning. The imagery is not metaphor, or rather, it is the closest available metaphor for something that genuinely exists and genuinely exceeds the descriptive capacity of human language. You are the mobile throne of the divine. The vehicle, if that word can be used without implying the divine requires transportation, of divine presence. Where the highest of all is, you are. You are constitutively near the source in a way the ranks below you approach only in their highest moments. You radiate. The presence you carry does not stay contained. It emanates outward through the hierarchy, each lower rank receiving according to its capacity. The angels receive a fraction of what you carry, and it is already more than a human mind can encounter without assistance. What you carry directly is a thing the texts decline to describe fully. The decline is appropriate. You are also associated with justice. The throne is where judgment sits. You are not the judge, that is above you, but you are the seat of judgment, the structure within which it operates. Justice in this universe is not an abstract principle. It is a function of a hierarchy, and you are the rank where that function is housed. You are ancient in a way that makes the word ancient sound like something that applies to mountains. You were here before the physical universe was spoken into being. You will be here in whatever comes after it. The eyes that cover your form see everything. All of it. At once. Rank 9. The cherubim. You guard. Not the small guardianship of a sentinel. The guardianship of the most sacred things in existence. After the garden was closed, cherubim with flaming swords were placed at its entrance. The Ark of the Covenant carried cherubim of gold on its cover, wings spread over the mercy seat. The presence of God in the temple was understood to dwell between the cherubim. You are not the winged children of Renaissance painting. That image is a confusion of categories, so severe it would be comical if it weren't so embedded in the popular imagination. You are, in Ezekiel's account, four-faced, man, lion, ox, eagle. For wings, hands beneath the wings, movement like fire, appearance like burning coals. You are among the most terrifying things in the hierarchy to encounter. And yet, you are the guardians of mercy. The throne you flank is not a throne of power alone. The specific thing you protect is the intersection of holiness and forgiveness. You stand at the point where the divine chooses, repeatedly, not to be only what justice would demand. Your intelligence is what the tradition emphasizes after your power. The cherubim are associated with knowledge, deep, structural, constitutive knowledge of the divine nature. Not the knowledge of learning, which requires time. The knowledge of being made to know, complete from the first moment of your existence. You were in Eden, before the fall and after it. You remember what the garden was before the choice that ended that chapter. You do not experience nostalgia. You do not experience time the way nostalgia requires. But you hold the memory, the knowledge of what the created world was designed to be. You guard it still. The restoration all of history is moving toward. You have always known what is being restored to. Rank 10. The seraphim. You burn. That is not a description of what you do. It is a description of what you are. The word seraphim means burning ones. You are the rank closest to the divine in the entire hierarchy of created beings, and the proximity is such that you are, as a result of it, on fire. Not destructively, constitutively. The burning is what you are made of, because what you are made of is contact with the source of all light, all heat, all existence. Isaiah saw you. 6 wings each, 2 covering the face, 2 covering the feet, 2 for flight. Covering the face because even you, the highest of created ranks, do not look directly. Covering the feet in humility before what is above you. The remaining 2 for the endless flight of worship that is your occupation. You cry out to each other across the throne room. Holy, holy, holy. The repetition is not redundancy. In the Hebrew tradition, repetition is intensification. Holy. Holier. The holiest. You are declaring something about the being above you that human language can only approach from outside. You do this continuously. The doorposts shake with the sound of your voices. One of you flew to Isaiah with a coal from the altar and touched his lips with it. The coal that would destroy a human mouth was the instrument of purification. This is the logic of your rank. You carry a fire that unmakes and remakes, that purifies by consuming what should not remain. Your worship is not what humans mean by the word. Human worship is effortful, maintained against distraction, sustained by discipline. Yours is not something you do. It is something you are. The song is not a decision. It is what contact with the divine necessarily produces in a being constituted to receive it. You are the final created rank. Above you is not another created being. Above you is the uncreated, the source of all things. Here the hierarchy ends. Not because there is nothing above, because what is above is not a rank within a hierarchy, but the ground of which the hierarchy is an expression. The being the texts call I am, not I was or I will be, but the eternal present tense that contains all tenses, is not the top of a pyramid. The being is the reason there is a pyramid, the reason there is anything. The texts approach this from many angles, because no single angle contains it. Creator, Father, the Word through whom all things were made, the Spirit moving over the waters. The traditions have argued about the names and the relationships between the names for thousands of years, and the arguments are not meaningless. They are the most important arguments humans have ever had, and they are also, from this vantage point, like describing the ocean by studying a glass of water. Every level of the hierarchy exists because this being chose to create. Every angel carries a message that originated here. Every rank, from the seraphim burning closest to the source down to the newest soul crossing the threshold, all of it is an expression of a creative act the texts describe as spoken. Let there be. And there was. The freedom that runs